Alright, quick recap what we've been doing. So at this stage, we put a DB grid down. We had our components that created a link between our database and our Java program. So we start with the ADO connection. This component connects our program or itself to the Microsoft Access table, so that from here we can then use the ADO table components. What they do is they connect to this connection to the database and then extract the tables. So each of them extracting one table. The one was the participants table, and then the other one was the staff salaries table from this database. So that will depend on your database. Then, so the tables are in there. But then to display it in our DB grid, our data source gives the information to the DB grid to be displayed. So whatever information we give to the source will be displayed there. And that's where this data set. So if the data set is table 1, table 1's information will be stored. If we change this data set to table 2, it will display table 2's information. So that sort of link with the components, that will always be given to you. You will never need to do that except in your PAT. In your PAT, you need to do that yourself. So the only part that you guys will need to do is the buttons and the coding for the buttons to make that work. So the first straightforward ones that generally just link with our ADO tables and working through them is going to the first record, which is just our ADO table 1 dot first. That puts the cursor at the first record of ADO table 1. And then displaying in our labeled edits is straightforward. So it's just your labeled edit.text gets the value of ADO table 1, and then in square brackets, inside quotes, your field name. So it will extract that value of the first record and display it in this edit box. And this field's value from the first record, from this table, we'll put there and so forth. So dot first goes to the first one. Our previous, we use prior. Our next, we use dot next. And our last, we use dot last. So all these things you can work interchangeably depending on what you would want happening in like a calculation button. But then that's just jumping around inside. We would also maybe want to add or remove anything. So in our insert button, you have to first put the table. So we're talking about that component. So you put that component in insert mode. Then, just like we access the fields to display them, you list your fields and then give them values. And then you use .post to save it. And then an open and close is sort of the same as refresh. You could just use ADO table 1.refresh. It also works, doesn't always work though. So the update, you just put it in edit mode. Then your field that you want to change with the value you want to give it. And then .post again to save it. Your delete. So you just say ADO table 1.delete. That will delete the record that was selected. And it's the same with the edit. With this update we did, this will update the selected record. So the one that's selected, put that in edit mode, change that one to a cost, and then save it. So that's the basic ones. Now we could also get calculations. So let's say we want the total cost. So sort of like we did with arrays, create a total variable, assign it to 0, start with your first table, then just repeat until you're at the end of the table, and your total should be whatever the total was plus that field. As you added it, you just want to go to the next record. Remember, this is key. Otherwise, you're going to get stuck in the same, in an infinite loop, and then just display afterwards. So it's important to remember with conditional loops. If you use the condition, you have to initialize it beforehand, and then you can change it on the inside. So we want to go until the end of the table. So before the time, start the table at the first record, and on the inside, the table should go to the next record every time. then this one works fine. Then what I also did last time, I just showed you that we can change how to change our source so that we can see different tables here. So if you want to see the participant table, it's the data source, says data set, must just become ADO table 1. And if you want to see the staff table, the data source, says data set, must just be ADO table 2. So that's the main thing between the two. So you can choose. Remember just last time I told you, these buttons, we coded them for ADO table 1. You'll see there, it's ADO table 1. So they will work with ADO table 1. So if you now change it to ADO table 2, you won't see anything happening, but as you click this, it will still happen inside the participant table, but sort of like in the background, because it happens with these components, but you won't see it happening. So unfortunately, you'll have to have like separate buttons, or you can even use like an if statement or anything to check which one is being shown, and then using that, you could then decide which one. So you can, with like a if or choice structure, sort of make these buttons work for the variety of tables. But yeah. So the key thing I want to look at tonight is the search. So how the search will work is like we did with our update and with our delete. Both of them worked with the selected record. But what if, like, here's only like 20 fields, or maybe 40 fields, or 30 fields. So it's not too many. So we can actually look for the one we want to delete. It. Oh yeah, here's Williamson. Let's delete Williams. But now, what if there's 1,000 people in there, and you're looking for a specific ID number? That person, I don't know, he got blacklisted and he's not allowed to fly, or he got thrown into jail and we want to remove him from the list, or whatever the case may be. So we want a specific person, maybe with an ID, or maybe a specific flight is cancelled. So now we want to either update it or delete those ones, but now how will we know which ones? And that's where the search comes in. So what we're going to do for the search for now is we're just going to display the information of, let's say, an ID number. Or what are we going to use? Yeah, we can use the ID number. Let's do ID number. So then we'll see the information of that person. And then we're going to adapt this one so that we remove the person with that ID. And we can maybe have an update for the pay tour cost of that flight. So we can then update the tour cost, maybe not even for that specific flight. Maybe we can make it for just of, and then it says question marks here. So we can rather make it like the user can say which flight number, and then we can change the tour cost of those flights. All right, so all three of them are basically a search, but a plain search, or a search with a delete, or a search with an update. So let's see with this. So with this search, I want, why is this thing here? This search, I want to display the info of the participant with ID. Okay, so we want to display the information of that participant. Let's just, to make our life easier, let's just display his surname. Display the surname. So let's say we want to see the surname of the participant with a specific ID. Obviously, then you can adjust it to however you want to. Yeah. So yes, those of you that downloaded the initial one, you would not have these buttons. So you could just go and add it for me. So I added 3 buttons here to the end. So just go add 3 more buttons, one for search, and then the other 2 we can do just now. So add 1 button for now, call it search, and we're inside that one. Alright, so now guide me, guys. I'm not going to do this by myself. I just want to do as little as possible. So tell me, what must I do? Guide us through this step. Think algorithm. What's the first thing we need to do? Let's put you a bit on the spot. All right, so we'll create an ID variable of type string. And now if we have to ask the user to type in an ID, how can we ask the user to type in an ID? What can I write here? Yes. Input box, then our caption, the prompt, and the default. So this should be for the search button. We want to know the person's ID. And then maybe to like life easier, we'll use one of these ones. Oh, I can't get it. Okay, never mind. All right. No, let's leave it a blank default. That's probably better, easier. All right. So we've got that now. We're asking the person for his ID. Yes. So we need to we need a repeat loop until yes, perfect. So until our audio table one is dot end of file. I want to advise once you go your first record, once you do your repeat until, put a third piece. Remember, a conditional loop has got three pieces. You need the condition, you need to initialize, and then what's the third piece we need to do? Yes, so we need to go to the next one. Otherwise, we get stuck in an infinite loop. So do these three pieces, then you know that's sorted because that they need to go together. Now we've got that. Now we go to the if part. All right. Yeah, you go 100% right. If ID equals to video table one, yes. All right, that's close. Okay, let's see who can help. What do we need? Because we can't just say if the ID is equal to audio table one. Wait. Sorry, that equals. Let me just do this. ID that equals, and then we've. Oh, is it double equal? Sorry. Yes. Then what do we do inside there? Audio table one. Yes. Because you have to say which field are we looking for. All right. So if the ID is equal to that ID, then begin. All right. So if our ID, yeah. Say again. We want to show his surname. So if we find the ID inside the table, that ID field, what do we want to do? Yes. Show message. And then what do I put in the show message? How do I show the surname of that person? Yes, inside quote. Perfect. Okay, let's see what this does. So I'm just going to quickly grab one here. I'm going to take this one. Copy that. So now as I search, looking for this ID, and there, an Elke, was that? Yeah, an Elke. Perfect. All right, and that's our search. Do we only use conditional loops with databases? So I want to say yes. The reason for yes, oh, who wants to tell me? Why do you think the conditional loop is the better one? Do you know, can you tell me how many records are in this table? Can you, can you for a fact, every time we play this program, tell me how many records are there in this table? No, because there's an insert and a delete as well. So even if you went and you counted now, and there's now 25, but now they ran insert twice, then it's 27. So for that reason, this is the better route. But there is a method called record count. So this method will tell you how many records are on the table. So theoretically, if you wanted to, if you really hate repeat until, I like it. But if you really don't want to, you can go for starting at 0, and then you can go to your ADO table 1 dot record count, and then inside there have a begin and an end. But then you still need to do your ADO table 1 dot next. You need to still move through the records. So you can go this route where you could go unconditional loop, because record count will tell you how many records there are at that stage. But I want to sort of say this is a little bit sort of a cheat. In a sense, you're not supposed to know how many records there are. So our conditional loop is the more correct way to go about it. But yeah, it's maybe good to just know also of this function that we do have. ADO table 1 dot record count. Just leave it in here. So to remember that you never know when you would want to maybe know how many records are there in that table. Then you can use this. All right. Yeah. So your ADO table, the ADO table dot close and open, that is sort of to, I want to say, to refresh. If you close it, you won't see. Let's say at the end of this one, I go ADO table 1 dot close. Let's say I close it at this end. Let's quickly see at the end of this button. So now I do my search, paste something there, found it, and they all gone because you closed that ADO. So it just removes it, sort of. But now, what we normally do, or what I did with the other buttons, I closed it and then I went ADO table 1 dot open. So having the combination of the two, you closing the component, and by opening it again, you sort of refreshing because it extracts the data again. So this does the same as ADO table 1 dot refresh. Yes, only with those three. Yeah, only when you change the values, you would want this. So either those two or this one. I saw in the past that ADO table refresh works and then suddenly this doesn't work. I don't know why. And then it just doesn't refresh. The close open one sort of always works for me. But I assume that might also have a limit somewhere. But yeah. Um, so generally we'll have them only, as you said, by our insert, we had it, and by delete and update. You might have it. Sometimes like our delete and update just refresh by itself. But you, mm, yeah. All right. All right. Um, Now let's quickly see. So that's our search. So now, as I said, there is a possibility that we could combine this now, because now what if we wanted to remove a person with that specific ID. So what we do now, I'm very lazy, so I'm going to copy paste. I'm hoping all of you are good with this. So first of all, we again asking the guy, all right, which ID? So this is now the remove button. Which ID do you want to remove? Then what we're doing is we again doing our search. So table.first, we're repeating through this table. Then we're checking if that ID is in there. But then the only difference, instead of displaying the surname at that stage, what do you think we need to do if I wanted to remove the person with that ID? Who wants to take a guess? So we do our normal search. Do you agree this is normal search? The only part was last time we displayed here. Displayed information for the search button, because this is the once we found the one we were looking for, we display this information. But now if you want to remove this one, the only thing you do is we just do our ADO table 1 dot delete, because this will go to that specific record. Then you delete it, and then you can just finish up. And that's how the delete works. So how this works, let's say I'm going to take this one, copy that one. So this is now John Smith. See, so now if you say remove a person with, so I can click anywhere I want to. Let's say I'm clicking there, a person with ID, and then I put in this John Smith's ID number, and then I say okay, and then you'll see if you go back up, John Smith's gone now. So I didn't need to go click on him. Remember our delete button says click on the one you want to delete and then click delete, then it will remove that one. With this one now, you can just, so it can be any one of these, you just need to give the ID and it will remove that person for you. All right, so that's a good question. So does the repeat loop carry on even after it's found? And the answer is yes. You could see that the counter or the cursor still went right through. So obviously this is a conditional loop. So you can go and make it a little bit better if you want to, by maybe creating another variable found of type boolean, and then you can just initially say found is false if you haven't found it yet, and then once it's found you can just make inside that if we can make found true, and then you can say until end of table or what's it, or um, found is equal to true. Or sorry, I really get confused with between Java and Delphi. You guys need to just guide me a bit. So yes, so we can just, so now until it's that or when found is true, it will stop. So now if we play it, you can look at this cursor as well. So let's say I'm looking for one and I'm giving something that's not there. See, it goes right through, it's at the end. So it never found that one. But now let's say I choose this one. So this is Daddy Puff. So I click somewhere, anywhere, doesn't matter where. Remove, I place this. Now if I click OK, and now Daddy Puff is gone. Or found is true, but why did it not? All right, then let's just do the last one. So let's say I want to update the tour cost of all the flight number to Elizabeth, like the SA 532, but we don't know which one. But depending on that flight number, we want to maybe make the tour cost, the pay tour cost, 400 Rand more, let's say. So cost what's that field called again? Yeah. So we want to make the tour cost more for all that specific flight number thingies. So who wants to guide me through this? How do I do that? So we want to find out what the flight number is from the user, and then whatever flight number he types in, all those pay tour costs must be 400 Rand more than it is now. So anyone can help. Open to the floor. Yes. What data type will that be? Yes, perfect. Because it's characters and numbers. So I'm just gonna call it FL number. It's a string. Alright, and what's the first thing we do? Yes, perfect. So our flight number must get, and then we use our input box. Okay, this is the update flight number. Okay. Alright, so now we know which flight to update. Now what now? Come guys, now Washington can't give us everything. Give me something. Winner, you haven't said anything yet. Tell us something. Simasishle, oh, you also joined. Simasishle, tell us something. I was wondering where you were. What's next? Yeah, go for it. Yes, Winner, tell me. Yeah, yeah. Paid tour cost, yeah. Okay, and then let's say we've got that. All right, so we can actually also just say pay tour cost should become whatever pay tour cost was plus 400. Okay, I'm happy with that. They on the inside though. Um, where did somebody sent us messages? I don't know where. See here. Okay, no problems. Message there. All right, what's the us? What else? Do we need stuff before and after this thing? So that line is correct. It's just yes, we need a repeat loop. Yes. Repeat until. Yes, our audio table one dot end of file. All right. And when we've got this, when we've got a repeat loop, so we've got a condition, what do we need? Remember, 3 pieces. Yes, so we need to initialize gr11.first. All right, and what else do we need inside? Yes. So remember, we need to do that every time we do the loop. All right. So who wants to? Yes, tell me, what else do I need? All right. So ADO table one dot close. And now ADO table one dot open. All right. What else do we need? There is 1, 2, 3 lines missing. 3 lines, 2 lines there, 1 line there. Well, we can probably 3 there and 2 there missing. Yes. So we need to put that table in edit mode. Remember, otherwise we can't edit it. And once you've edited it, you need to save that information. So ADO table1.post. All right, so that's the update part. So update sorted. What's missing with the search, guys? You just went repeat. This is going to do it with everybody. Yes. All right, so we'll see that now. You'll see now what I'm going to do. So we need a begin here. Okay, oh, so begin there and the end here. So the key thing is we want the edit and the post needs to be inside our if. Put it in edit mode, update it, and post it, and then we can go on with the next to the next one. Because you can't go to the next one if you haven't saved your edit of the first one. So as soon as you find the one, but we need to fix that still, then put it edit mode, update that record, save it. Go to the next record. Are we at the end? No. Check if it's the right one. Edit mode, update, post, next one. So your edit and your post needs to be inside the if. All right, then our if, what happens in our if? What do we say here? How will we know which ones to update? Remember, it's our flight number. If our flight number is equal to our ADO table 1, square brackets, that, and then it's a flight, no, I think this one. Yes, no problem. We're done here. We're also done here. This button is done, yes.